morning. I swear a lot.
It is 18 past 1 in the PM, and you're watching or listening to The Foreman. I'm your host, Foreman, and I'm still technically on my break. But the break has kinda ended early, because by the time you're watching this will be up on Monday, and I will already be working on Tuesday's video, which will be when we actually truly go back to how we're doing things. But it's Saturday now, and I kind of wanted to do something to prepare for going back to doing videos, because I want to keep making videos. I'm looking forward to getting back into it. But at the same time, I didn't want to do a proper video, because that kind of defeats the point of having a break. I would basically be shooting myself in the foot by ending my own break early. So I thought I'd do a Foreman Talks, because these are horrifically easy to produce. They are so easy to produce. In fact, one of the original reasons why I started producing Foreman Talks was in an attempt to give myself an easier video to make, to serve as a pseudo day off, as it were, where it's like, all I need to do is talk into a microphone, then record some footage of a game I'd be playing anyway, and then just stitch it together in editing. It's easy, it takes barely any time. But it'd probably be better off to just actually take days off instead, but I digress and I'm rambling. I wanted to do something nice and easy and chill to kind of get back into the flow of making videos, you know, something easier. And also, I guess kind of wanted to talk, for those of you who are interested, about my time off and what it was like, because this is the first time in like a long time. I don't know, I think most of my time making Foreman Play Stuff videos, if not all of it, that I have actually taken some time off for me, purely for me, just to rest and recharge. No other reason, no like social obligation or needs to help someone or work or what have you, just for me. It's been an interesting experience, because to begin with, I was like, I don't even know what the fuck to do with myself. I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't feel like I'm really working towards anything, and it's an unfortunate mindset that I think I got into over that it's nearly 6 years. I think by the end of this month, Foreman Play Stuff will have been going for 6 years. Pretty sure. But I think it's a mindset I got into where I always felt like I needed to each day be working towards that greater goal of like producing for the channel, improving the channel, perhaps moving towards the end of a series, or just to do stuff in the purpose of hopefully gaining more following and just generally working towards the channel. I always felt like I needed to be doing something towards that each day. And that's kind of reverse engineer the logic to be like, you're helping the channel right now by giving yourself a break. Because if you don't take a break, you will continue to perform worse and worse, and you'll get lazier and lazier on the editing until eventually the videos are just substandard. Just not good. Just not worth the following that I have, right? It's not that I have that big a following, but a certain level of quality I think needs to be met, and I feared I don't think I'd dipped below that level of quality, not until that Hades recording I talked about, which is now gone. But I feel like I was moving closer and closer to it more consistently, and I was like, I don't really want to do good enough. I want to do better. I want these videos to be funny and interesting and enjoyable and a good experience. They need to be enjoyable, even if they are practically daily, excluding Sundays. A certain level of quality needs to be met. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? It's just a day job. I may as well go get a job at Tesco's. It would pay more, right? So, no, I do this because I want to do it, and I want to do it well. Therefore, I need to make sure to take breaks so that I can continue to do it well, so that I will be happy while doing it and continue to want to do it, so that it is more beneficial to do this than to go work at Tesco's, you know? Yeah, I want to talk to you guys about the time off I took. I ramble a lot on this show. If you haven't watched Foreman Talks before, I ramble. I go off on tangents. This is just what I do. But it occurred to me, I want to say about 3 years ago or so, I started decorating this room. You know, painting the walls and stuff like that. But then when I started doing the Lobotomy Corporation series, and at the same time got a job as a water treatment engineer, I got a little busy. I got a little very busy with my general life, professional life, doing work and stuff. I got so busy, in fact, that for the last 3 years or so, this room has remained unfinished, unpainted even. Slightly less than half the walls were painted. 40% of the walls were painted. The rest of it was not. So this week I decided not only would I focus on cleaning up this room and getting it organized and getting it sorted out, and there was a lot of cleaning to do, by the way, because I neglected it. Like, don't get me wrong, wasn't exactly leaving food around and shit, but there was just dust everywhere, and spiders get in here during the summer and put up cobwebs, and my cat Daisy leaves hair everywhere, and the dogs leave hair everywhere, so there was hair, spider webs, and dust everywhere. Bad time, not great. Also, just stuff had fallen down the side of like my desk, and like guitar picks, cables would just fall down there, and I'd never reclaim them because I'd forget about it. The room needed a big sorting out, as well as requiring painting. So I've spent this week, despite the fact that sometimes I do this with Sweetman as a job, decorating my own room. And I did it. It's done. It's actually finished. I finished yesterday. And I'm really happy with it. I've moved stuff around, it's a lot cleaner. I got a couple of those sound insulating pads, which I haven't been able to properly affix to the walls, but there's like 2 behind my monitor and 1 on the opposite end of the room where my voice would presumably bounce off the far wall and come back. That's now been cushioned. Thank you to Sweetman and Harry for giving me a little tutorial on that, though Sweetman has said he's probably going to come over and help me with that personally, which I would appreciate, to be fair, because he is like a proper music guy, whereas I'm a newbie music guy. And he probably knows a little bit more about acoustics and such than I do. I just set up a desk and a microphone and talk into it. That's the extent of my expertise. But yeah, room's decorated, and it looks really nice. On Thursday, I remember I was like, I want to get this done before the weekend, because I do want there to be days in this time off where I am not decorating and I'm just chilling out. So on Thursday, I remember I pulled a late one. I started decorating like, I don't know, late morning, early afternoon. Like I've been letting myself rest during this time. I haven't exactly been getting up at the crack of dawn and cracking on with decorating. I've been chilling. I've been playing Elden Ring and stuff, which, by the way, is probably the footage you're watching on screen right now, because I want to test to see if I can record that, because I would quite like to do the DLC on camera. I already have a complete series of Elden Ring Vanilla, which is on the channel somewhere. You can find it in my playlist section on my channel, so if you're interested in that, go have a look. But yeah, been playing like Elden Ring and stuff, Star Wars Empire at War, a little bit of Deep Rock Galactic, Helldivers, obviously. I'm having a good time with that. But yeah, it hasn't all been decorating, it's been that too. But on that Thursday, I worked from like late morning, early afternoon till gone 10 p.m. in the evening, because I just wanted to get it all painted. And like, that fucked me up as well. Not literally, but like, I was exhausted and tired and achy afterwards, especially since there is a stairway leading up to this room that needed to be painted as well. And some of that shit is just too tall, right? Like, it is just far beyond a human being's reach, and you can't put a ladder on stairs because, shit, dude, you will hurt yourself. Like, the steps aren't big enough to put a ladder on, and I didn't fancy breaking my neck trying to decorate my stairs. I still managed to paint it all, but I had to really fucking stretch, and like my neck and shoulders were in agony afterwards. But after I did all this, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have such a good night's sleep tonight, because I'm fucking knackered, and I've been working hard all day working hard, like, gratifying, self-serving work that only exists really to make my life better. And I did it, and I was like, oh boy, I'm gonna have such a good sleep. Did I fuck? It was the worst night's sleep of my life, and I have no idea why. I would not fall asleep, and when I did fall asleep, I dozed for like half an hour and wake up again. Awful. Simply awful. I don't understand my brain and body anymore. It makes no sense. But, I woke up on that Friday morning and I was like, you know what? That staircase doesn't need 2 coats. 1 coat will fucking do. It's done. And I spent the rest of the day sorting out everything else in this room, and it is, like I said, complete. And it feels good, man. It feels real good. And I can say that during my time off, not only did I chill, but I also did something productive, which feels good. It feels good. But it was good that I had that task to kind of apply myself to, because I did struggle a bit to be like, why do I even do all this time? Like, yeah, I like playing video games, and yeah, I'll play video games all day if I can, but I don't feel very good when I play video games all day. And like, yeah, I could do basic chores, obviously, and a bit of cleaning here and there and whatever, but like, I don't know. I feel like with the level of required productivity and dedication that comes from running your own shit, you know, like a YouTube channel or your own company or whatever, like being self-employed, I suppose, like the whole level of dedication required, hours that come with being self-employed, means that it comes with a level of guilt if you're not doing it, and it's a very hard feeling to shake. I sit here thinking to myself like, oh, I should be doing something towards the channel right now, and I have multiple ideas where I was like, oh yeah, but I could just like do an Elden Ring recording and talk over it and just like do that for fun. Yeah, and that won't really be work, that'll just be for fun. And then I had to rein myself in and be like, no man, that's your job. That's your job. You're just looking for excuses to do your job. Right now, really, technically, is kind of me doing a loophole so that I can work without working. But like I said, Foreman Talks is incredibly easy to produce, so I don't consider it to be too much of a problem. But I am still technically doing it, but I had to rein myself in and be like, you're not doing that, you're not going to work, you're going to do what you need to do and what you want to do. I needed to decorate this room. I wanted to be able to work in a room that is decorated, so I did that, and that was great. I wanted to play Elden Ring, so I've been playing Elden Ring. I wanted to play Star Wars Empire at War, so I've been doing that. The good news, I suppose, in all of this is that it has made me very excited to get back to work, and that's a good sign. I was quite, I don't know what the term would be, but I was quite conscious of this when I decided to take the time off, quite spontaneously, where I was like, that's it, you're fucking up too much, you need to take some time off. Because when I initially gave myself the time off, I was relieved. I was like, oh, I'm not working tomorrow, oh, amazing, I can relax. And then I thought, like, am I going to feel like that at the end of the week, where I'm like, oh no, I'm back to work Monday, because I'm technically going to be starting again Monday, because I need to get a video up for Tuesday. And I was like, oh, am I going to be fucking like, oh no, I'm working Monday, oh, my time off's nearly over? And the answer is no. Actually, I'm quite excited to get back to work again. I'm literally forcing myself to take today and tomorrow off to adhere to my break to then start again on Monday. I'm forcing myself to do it because I'm like, it will take the shine off the work if you go back in too quickly. You know, you really gotta take that time off, but it's hard. It's hard. The hardest part of taking time off was taking time off. Ignoring the financial aspects, but don't worry about that. Speaking of financial stuff, right? I had to register for self-assessment for my taxes. That's right, I'm a businessman now. I do big business taxes because I'm technically self-employed. I don't make enough to be taxed, which is good. Well, it is and it isn't. I wish I was making more money, but at least I'm not being taxed. But yeah, you need to apply. Basically for self-assessment, you need to declare that, yo, I'm a fucking self-employed person and I'm doing my own thing. And then the government are like, cool, all right, continue then, that's fine, we just need to know. And I was like, fair enough. So I've started that process. I'm not good at the whole business side of this business. I'm not really a businessman, despite all the business that I've done during my time on this show and during the videos and in the game. So much business. Business I can do, but business, no, I'm a bit weak at it. But that was kind of why this was necessary, actually, because it taught me a lot about what I should expect when the channel gets to a point where I can actually be taxed. Lots of things I need to know about, things I can write off on my taxes. Like if I bought a new computer, which I will eventually need to do, I can write that off on my taxes because it's equipment necessary for me to do my job. I can write off my electricity bill because this is a home office. There are lots of little things. Now I remember my old boss, John, and what a fucker he was, but not for this reason, used to take this to a bit of the nth degree where it's like we'd go on the way to a job, we'd go get McDonald's and he's like, yep, writing that off for my taxes, or just anything he could write off on his taxes he would. And I think a lot of the time it was things he couldn't write off on his taxes, but he just did it anyway. I don't hate him because of that. I hate him because he was a fucking massive racist with anger problems, but yeah, there's a reason I don't work there anymore. It's because he was an absolute prick. But I digress, truly. That's one of those things, though, that I think makes me really appreciate being able to do this, is that I don't work for him anymore, and that's nice. Just small things like that. I'm my own boss. I am actually my own boss. That's weird, but I am my own boss, which comes with all the benefits and detriments that you would expect. In that, in a desire to make sure I'm not being too lazy, I am not lazy enough, and I don't give myself time off, and I don't cut myself much slack, if any, when it comes to getting stuff done. I'm like, no, we need to hit the daily uploads. We have to. It's important for the algorithm. It's important for channel growth. It's important for your finances. It's important. And also I want to make sure I have to be like my own boss in terms of a businessy sense. And then I get to play the part also of the guy who's actually performing and editing and being like, I want to do a good video because I feel good when people enjoy it. And then I also have the business aspect of me, which is like, you need to hit those fucking quotas. I'm basically my own lethal company. It's interesting. I'm hoping if I take too long off that I won't vent myself into space, but that's not entirely impossible. So I am a little wary, and I do think it might be time to get back to work soon. But Monday, not today. Even though I technically am today. It's so fucking weird. I'm having to justify it to myself this way. It shouldn't matter so much, but mindsets and the way you approach these things are important. And as you can hear, as I'm sure you can tell from this, I'm a fucking mess on this front. There is so much to untangle, and I don't even begin to know how I would untangle all of it. But I don't know, you guys know me. I'm a very I don't plan things, I just wing it. And that applies to games. It also applies to real life. I just kind of wing it. Once something becomes apparent, I'm like, all right, I'll deal with it. And then it's dealt with. And then something else becomes apparent, and I'm like, okay, I'll deal with it. And then it's dealt with. And I just kind of improv my way through life. That's just how I do. It seems to work. It's doing all right. It could be worse. Maybe some planning would be pretty good. But, this serves me all right. I guess I do plan series. Not always. In the earlier days, I would just do whatever took my fancy on a day, but now I do plan series, and I've got ideas in mind for the future. I'm thinking after Hades, we could do a Pokemon Nuzlocke run. I'm thinking Heart Gold or Soul Silver or whatever the Crystal equivalent was. If there even was one, I don't remember. But I also wanted to put in a randomizer so that every Pokemon you encounter and every trainer's Pokemon are all randomized. So until you've fought someone and lost, you never know what you're up against. I thought that'd be really fun and interesting, as well as we have no idea what we'd catch on any given route. It could be anything. It could be a fucking Munchlax, it could be a Steelix, who the fuck knows? And I think that would be a very fun detail. That could be very enjoyable. I'll be interested to see what people think about the Nuzlocke idea, but yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. I've got that planned. The one thing I guess I do kind of have planned what I'm going to do after Limbus, because there is going to be a period of time between, finishing Kanto 6, I'm all sleepy, finishing Kanto 6 and the, preceding minis or intervalos, whatever the fuck are after that. There'll be a new Refraction Railway, so we can do that too, but after that, I did want to read Dante's notes, but I do find I get quite fatigued with reading videos when I have to do them consecutively, so I might bounce around a little bit, do a Dante's Notes reading, then play a fucking Project Moon mod in some game, and then maybe go back and do more Dante's Notes reading, and then, I don't know, Runa mod. I haven't really looked at the Runa mods yet. That might be interesting. Though I'm not sure if I'm eager to go back to Runa, because that is a game where people really do just, knuckle down on your gameplay and be like, oh, I see, you didn't do this proper efficient move at this exact moment. I don't know why you picked and used that card, because it is 0.7% less efficient than just using Singleton all the fucking time. And, that wears on you a little bit. So if I do more Runa, I can't promise it'll be much or very consistent, because, man, that shit gets annoying. And I start to lose my faith in humanity if I do too many Runa videos one after the other. So, probably gonna keep that a little, sparse, scarce, whatever word you want to use. I kind of want to see about finishing that LobCorp challenge run I did. The no resets, no reruns, no memreps run. Kind of want to see if I can finish that, but the problem is I haven't played LobCorp now in so long that I'll be jumping back into a save file that is quite far along, quite advanced, with no experience. Absolutely no, I've lost all of my personal experience, as it were, and I need to relearn how to play the game without retrying, or I'll fucking lose everything and the run will be over. So that's a little awkward. I have actually recorded a little bit of part 3 of that, which would be the final part. That footage does exist on my computer. I haven't gotten rid of it because I was like, maybe at some point you want to go back and finish that challenge run. So it's still on my computer. I haven't gotten rid of it. That series is not over. It's just been on hiatus. I suppose I probably should have said something about it, but people didn't really seem to care about it that much. Like, people turned out and watched it, but that was it. No one really seemed that invested. So I was like, this probably isn't a priority. And then we went on and did Limbus instead, and I was like, Limbus seems a little more important right now, we'll do that instead. Yeah, that makes more sense. That seems like a good shout. But yeah, I haven't written off that LobCorp run. That is still on the cards, that still exists, and is still a thing we might do at some point. Whenever I can get the fucking balls and free time together, because I can't just record all that in one day. That's recorded over multiple days, because you guys know how fucking long LobCorp days are, and I've got like, what, 10 more days to do or something, if I remember? I think we got to like day 40 or something. I gotta do, if all goes according to plan, 10 more days, which could be like 10 hours or more, depending on how things go. And then I've got to edit it all together and then put it out. So, you know, I'll have to be able to find the time to do extra recordings in the week where I can do that as well. And this is the kind of shit that leads to me getting burnt out, right? I can't believe I didn't get properly burnt out sooner. I honestly think that Runa should have done me in. Because think about it, right? During that time, when I was producing Runa, this was also the case with LobCorp, but LobCorp, I think, was a little bit more relaxed, except for day 49, fuck that day. But during the Runa series, I was doing Runa videos every other day, right? So it was one Runa video every other day, okay? Those recordings were typically anywhere between 2 and 3 hours, and the finished product was anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours, sometimes a bit more. They were long videos. So I was doing 3 to 4 of those every single week, whilst also working a day job which required me to travel across the country, leave home at like 7 a.m. and get back home at like 8 p.m, sometimes staying out at hotels overnight to do jobs out there. Whilst also producing those Runa videos, whilst also producing my normal videos because I was doing daily uploads whenever it was physically possible, and also back then I was not taking Sundays off, so it was daily uploads whenever it was possible. Whilst also recording and editing incredibly fucking long Runa videos, and then publishing those videos, going online and seeing people laugh at me because I didn't use the right card at the right moment. And like, everything else in that video became irrelevant because of that one moment where I didn't use the card properly. Like, literally every comment would focus on that one moment, completely ignore anything else that happened in that video. That's what rankled me at the time, right? I didn't mind so much if people were like jabbing at me a bit, because I'm like, it's a video going on the internet, it's fine. But the fact of the matter would remain that I would like pull out a win, which was really tough, and I'd make some really good jokes, and we'd have some really good times in there, but every comment was like, no, this was wrong, this one thing, and it would be like 30 comments on that one thing. And I'm like, first of all, how is that the most prominent thing that happened in this video? And second of all, do any of you fuckers read any of the other comments in these sections? Do you think you could just scroll down like an inch, see that someone else has said the exact same thing, and think to yourself, maybe I won't say the exact same thing? And this is a reoccurring problem to this day, by the way, that absolutely fucking sends me. Every time I load up a video and it's like 20 to 40 people, alright, that's an exaggeration, I'll say 15 to 20 people, all commenting the exact same thing, and I'm like, guys, use your fucking... I know you can't read, I know you're Runa players, but please, please, just a little bit of variety would be nice. Not long ago, in the grand scheme of things, right, I want to say between, I don't know, 5 and 10 episodes ago, it's honestly hard to say, I'm not looking right now on there, because I can't be asked. Someone came into the comments of a, Limbus Company video. I won't say their name. It's not worth doing, so I don't like to call people out. But they came in and they were like, man, these comments are really rude. And I was like, yeah, yeah, a bit. But the thing is, I didn't feel vindicated because someone else noticed, right? That someone noticed that, oh yeah, I'm not just being fucking sensitive. Some of these people really are kind of rude. I felt embarrassed. I mostly just felt embarrassed. I was like, this is my community. I mean, they're not really. Most of them are just here for not Runa. God, I'm used to saying that though. Limbus and nothing else. So they're not really my community as much as they're PM fans here to watch videos on PM that I just so happen to be doing, right? But I was still embarrassed because I was like, this is my community and people are looking at it and going, man, these people are fucking rude. Like, they're really rude to the guy who makes videos, and I'm like, it wasn't always that way. It used to be pretty fucking chill. I remember the LobCorp days. The only thing I got annoyed at there was people just like spamming the same advice, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. Which was not like, I wish I could go back to me at that point and be like, mate, this is nothing compared to what you're going to deal with later. And it's not even like as if I've put up with the worst kind of flack that an online personality can put up with, but that doesn't make it okay, right? Just because someone somewhere in the world had their leg blown off doesn't mean it's not a problem that your leg is broken. You know, perspective is all well and good, but also you should be able to acknowledge the fact that you went through a rough time. Just because someone else has had a more rough time, you don't need to feel guilty about feeling bad about the fact that you've had a rough time just because someone else had it worse. But I digress. I'm not really presenting that argument to justify myself, but it is kind of like that in this context, so we're going to move on. That's also not what the subject of this fucking Foreman Talks was supposed to be. It was supposed to be what I did in my off time. I guess what I do in a lot in my off time is seethe. See, here's the thing, right? We'll poke a little deeper into my psyche. Why the fuck not? What else do we got to do today? It's my day off. I can do what I want. Maybe it'll be good therapy as well. I'm the kind of person where I'll put up with a lot, and I'll put up with it consistently, and I'll put up with it without saying anything. And this is something that has been reaffirmed or proven even in my personal relationships, in my IRL life, where I'll put up with a lot of flack from someone, or I'll take a lot of shit from someone, or they'll just piss me off endlessly, and I'll just put up with it, and I'll internalize, and all the unhealthy stuff, push it deep down and suppress it, exactly what you're not supposed to do. But unfortunately, this is just who I am. And I'll internalize it, and I'll push it down, and I'll deal with it, and I'll cope with it, and I'll be like, and I might bring it up at some point and be like, look, this is starting to get on my nerves. And then that's the key moment, right? That is the critical moment. If they keep doing it, I'll hold on for a little while longer. But after an indeterminate amount of time, I don't even know how long it really is. It varies, frankly. I expect you guys are imagining that I'm about to say that I flip. I don't. No, flipping's not really the thing I do. Sometimes, very rarely, it is a thing that has happened, but it's not my typical response. My typical response is that my brain goes, and I have no control over this. I don't decide this. It just happens. My brain just goes, fuck them. They are out. You feel nothing for them now. Absolutely nothing. I go completely numb to the person in question. And this has happened more times in my real life than I would care to admit, especially to the people of whom that feeling has occurred. But it does happen. And a bit of that kind of happens during Ruiner, where I put up with it for a really long time. And I thought to myself, like, Foreman, you're overreacting. Like, that it's not that bad. It's not. I told myself that for months and months, where I was like, it's not that bad. Just, it's the internet. It's just whatever. But there was always a tiny voice in my head that was like, how does that make it okay, though? How does that make it okay, though? How does that make it all right? Why are you making excuses for them? Why are you excusing people behaving in this manner? What makes that okay? Why do you just want it to be okay? And I was like, yeah, I kind of do actually just want it to be okay, but it wasn't okay. But I put up with it, and I started to make references to it in videos where I was like, yeah, it's kind of getting on my fucking nerves, and naturally, people completely ignored me. And then by the end of Ruiner, I was like, I feel nothing, fuck off. Like, I'm done with you all. Not all of you, obviously not all of you, that's not accurate, but the people specifically who were being shitty is like, I'm fucking done with you. I don't give a fuck where you go, but get off my channel. I don't want to see you anymore. I don't want to see comments from you anymore. I would use the hide user from channel feature, but the problem is that hides their comments from everyone. And I'm not looking to censor people and mute and not let anyone see what they say. I just don't want to fucking read it. I want to censor them from me. Y'all can see the comments. I don't give a fuck. I've got nothing that I'm scared of being called out for, but I don't want to read it when someone's telling me for the 15th fucking time that the card I used wasn't the best card for that moment. But there's no option for that. You either have to go full fucking police state censorship on that specific person, or none at all. It's why I turned off notifications on YouTube for me getting comments, because I was like, I've had enough of that shit. I no longer want to be notified of new comments. I'll go through them like in the morning when I'm having a cup of tea and I'm a bit more relaxed, but during the day, like if I'm already stressed about something and I look over and someone's being a dickhead and I'm like, nah, I don't want to deal with that anymore. The result of this being that there are comments I'm going to miss and comments I won't be able to look at or respond to, and that does make me sad, but I gotta look after myself a little bit here, right? Like, this business, I don't like referring to it as a business, to be honest. This work, I don't even like referring to it as work either because I enjoy it, but fuck it. This work is very, very, very dependent on the presenter's mental state, right? Or at least it is in my case. Maybe other people are better at just putting on a mask or whatever. But in order to perform, I need to be in a decent mental state. And I don't necessarily mean like, oh, you can't be depressed or you can't have any kind of mental problem. You can, but you need to have been able to get yourself to a point where you're relatively like chill. You're just like, yeah, I'm good. Or at least, depending on your style, maybe a more worked up state would work better for you. But for me personally, I need to be able to center myself and be like, right, I'm not angry, I'm not sad and depressed, I'm not melancholy, I'm not like, I don't know, feeling dreary or anything. Just center yourself a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just, you know, so you can focus on what you're about to do, which is talking shit and playing video games. And, you know, just being able to, because I've got a dual monitor setup, and like, when I start recording, I'll put on a song. Like, I put on a song, put my headphones on and listen to it, and I just let myself listen to a song for a bit, whilst I record enough audio in Audacity to get an audio profile, a noise profile, so that I can cut out background sound. Like, you know, the more ambient stuff, like the sound of a computer running or whatever. It's a whole process, but I'll listen to a song during that time. And back in the day, I would just check comments every so often while I was doing that, and then see something that pisses me off, and then be like, cool, now I have to go into a recording feeling pissed off. So, yeah, I don't do that anymore. I'd like to. I do see it partially as my own personal failing, frankly, because maybe I should just be the type of person who can ignore it, who can just read it and go whatever and leave it. But that honestly varies from day to day. Some days I can ignore it, some days it means fuck all to me, and some days it really fucking bothers me. And it seemed like the best solution was to just limit my ability to be notified of it, not have it pop up on my phone every time it happens. Just leave it. Distance myself just a little bit. It's what I do. If I've had enough, I distance myself in a major fucking way from anything, from people, any person. I will just distance myself. And the awkward thing there is that I say that, and some people might be thinking, oh wow, has Foreman chosen to distance himself from me? Probably not. I just don't message people very much. It's an unfortunate bit of unintentional synergy between my defense mechanism of pushing people away if they're pissing me off, and just not messaging people or messaging people back anyway, because I'm antisocial, or I'll read it and be like, yeah, I'll get to that later, and then never fucking doing so, or just being like, I don't really feel up to replying to this right now, and then never fucking doing so. It's all a big fucking lose-lose. I'm working on it, I really am, I swear to you, I am working on it. I always have been working on it, but I don't know, you get tired, and I certainly got tired, hence why I had to take this week off. Bringing it back to the original subject, oh yeah, absolutely segueing back to the original topic at hand, but yeah, it makes me very tired. All of the things I've just talked about make me very tired. It's not a kind of tiredness that is fixed by just going to bed at night. Not that that tends to go very well, but still, it's not just fixed by a night's sleep. It's fixed by stepping away from it, and it's also helped by distancing yourself from it in a certain manner. I still check comments, I do. Chances are, if you've posted a comment on any video, even a Limbus one, I've probably read it. I almost guarantee I've read it. But If it's something I will respond to, it'll probably be delayed because I don't want to look at it straight away. I don't want to look at any of the comments straight away because fuck. Shit. God damn. But I do appreciate you commenting. I do. I think we're going to wrap this up soon because this is dragging on a bit. But I remember I saw an interview, right? This is really weird. This just seems like real random shit, but there is a reason for it. I saw an interview on Richard Hammond, who was one of the presenters for Top Gear, who later went on to be one of the presenters for Grand Tour, and I don't know what he's doing now. I think he runs a garage or something. And like they were talking, and he was like, I don't know how the subject came up, but at some point he was like, well, I think what I really need sometimes, more than anything else, is to just have just a pat on the back, just someone to pat me on the back and say, good job, mate, well done. It doesn't happen very often, and I was like, huh, because that hit a little close to home where I was like, yeah, no, sometimes you just want to be told, good job, man, well done. That's really all you're looking for, and people will see like a public figure, I think, and get a misconception of how secure or confident they may be, and think like, well, they don't need to be fucking, they don't need to be reinforced, they don't need to be encouraged, they probably get it all the fucking time because they're a public figure and people are always fucking telling them how great they are. And I used to think that as well. Now I'm not, ever since doing it myself, I'm not so sure. I don't think public figures get celebrated very often. Or maybe they do at larger levels. I'm not saying feel sorry for fucking rich ass celebrities, you know, money's a solid cushion, but it occurs to me that you might look at someone like that and think like, oh, I bet everyone tells them how fucking great they are, and I'm starting to think it might not be that often. Because Richard fucking Hammond, who is a presenter for one of the most beloved shows on TV this millennia, yeah, it's only been 24 years, but still, even he was like, half the time I really am just craving someone to tell me I did a good job. And I'm like, huh, not what I would have expected. And I guess that was the case with me as well. Especially during the Ruiner series, all I wanted was for... I mean, some people did. Let me be clear, all right? Some people during that series did turn around and say, good job, Foreman, you did really well on that. By the same token, there were people who were having conversations behind my back being like, I'm not going to help him at all with the fucking Zhao fight or give him any advice because I can't bear the thought of him being that first try. And I'm like, you guys really didn't want me to do well, did you? God. That's what I'm talking about, though. We went from LobCorp, where everyone was patting me on the back and saying good job, and it felt great, to Ruiner, where suddenly everyone was stood on the other side of the room. And I was just stood over here by myself, and everyone was like, man, look how fucking stupid he is. And that was the Ruiner series, and that was probably the most tiring thing I've done over the past 6 years, was the Ruiner series, and I don't think I properly recovered from it until this week. And I guess I haven't, even now, properly recovered from it. I'm still resentful, I'm still spiteful. I just don't really... I don't know. I don't really let that shit go. I don't get really super angry about it, but I don't let it go either. There are people in my life who have come back after I've had these... After I've, gotten to the point where I'm like, fuck it, I'm done with you. And they've reintroduced themselves back into my life. And I've been like, yeah, sure, why not? And, I'll put on a smile, shake the hand, give them a hug or whatever. In my head, I feel nothing, man. Not a fucking thing. I'm like, I'm only doing this because it's more convenient for everyone for us to shake hands and make up than for me to continue to publicly carry a grudge. But I do still carry a grudge, and I feel nothing, and nothing's gonna change that. I don't know why. I don't know if that's common. I don't know if other people do that as well, but I do. I do hold a grudge. And when I hold that grudge, I am officially done with that person. It's really weird. I don't know, do you guys do that? How weird is this? Is this particularly unusual, or is it a little more common than I think? I'd be interested to hear. But yeah, this definitely wandered off topic from what I initially intended, but I think I had a lot to get off my chest. Maybe this was the final productive thing I needed to do during my time off, and that was a fucking therapy session. Like a real therapy session, not just playing Total War Warhammer 3, and, I don't know, talking about turning 30. I don't give a fuck about turning 30 now. But, like, actually getting some of these deep-rooted issues off of my chest. I don't know. Not many people watch Foreman Talks, so I don't think it will cause too much of a problem. But if you take exception to anything I just said, why don't you check the comments to make sure someone else hasn't said it first? Or at least see if you can phrase it differently, like sufficiently differently. And then also think, like, maybe just if I say good job, you might fucking calm down. I don't know. But yeah, do let me know if you've experienced it in a similar way. Like, I don't know, what do you do when a relationship with a person just pushes you beyond and you're like, I've had enough, I'm done with you? Like, how does that resolve for you, I suppose? You don't have to answer that if you don't want to. I appreciate that's pretty fucking personal, so don't feel like pressured to answer that one. I probably shouldn't have shared half of this shit on camera, but it's Foreman Talks, that's kind of the point of it. And I do like to be open with you guys. I do. So, yeah, but that's all from me for today. I think I've waxed lyrical long enough. Yeah, thank you so much for listening. Special thanks to Lumen, Crystallite, Summercat, Flanny, Painter Dragoon, Lyle the Hagsire, Lit Potatoes, Proxy, Caminera, Moa, Heartland, Harik J, Dresso, Slol, Final Legend, Ethrobin, Linky, Xeon Cedar, Bimblewarts, Majoko, Mymoon, Alkia, Sweet Baby Red, Jessica T, Plutonium Pie, Dreamer Ghost, Leper Lullaby, K-Bub, Magic Owl, The Frostbite, Monsoon, Warmaster OQ, SCP-106A, Namad, and Kenny T800 for supporting me on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you all so much for watching and listening. Yeah, my original topic kind of went out the window, didn't it? Just a little bit. It just turned into a therapy session. But, yeah, no, maybe that was healthy. Maybe that was good. Maybe that made me feel better. Maybe that will help me in the future as I return to making regular content on the day that you watch this, that it comes out. Tomorrow will be Hades. Yes, Hades. And then the day after will be Ender Lilies. And then the day after that will be Limbus. And then the day after that will also be Limbus. There'll be a Limbus double bill so that we're not losing time on that, because I appreciate people are quite eager for that and I don't want to leave them hanging. But I also didn't want to do Limbus like last Tuesday and then do Limbus this Tuesday and leave the Hades and Ender Lilies and Joys hanging. That didn't seem very fair. You know, just because those videos get less views doesn't mean they're less important, especially to the people who say watch those and don't watch Limbus. Trying to be fair. I do my best, but it's difficult, and also I change my mind on a fucking dime, so sometimes it gets a little messy. Half the people I know who watch this show were surprised to learn that I even had a schedule because it was so fucking chaotic that they didn't think I did, which is fair enough, but whatever happens next time and tomorrow, Hades, I hope you enjoy. If you do enjoy, that's good. I hope. See you there. Outro. Fucking mess. The Hades recording's gonna be a fucking nightmare. I can't wait. Doodles. Goodbye.